Hey there, my name is Anthony Romano, and in this video I'm going to explain to you Dave Asprey's keto diet and what he does that makes his keto diet unique. So Dave's approach is very, very clean, and this is why he calls it bulletproof. Even when he's not eating ketogenic, he still eats bulletproof, but I'm going to explain to you some of the simple principles that make this applicable to you so you can understand how to apply some of Dave's methods to your own keto diet to make it more bulletproof, more clean, in the simplest of ways. So this video is not meant to be a substitute for reading some of Dave's books, notably the Bulletproof Diet, which is his first big book that he came out with. And I'm in general going to run through some of the approaches that can make your keto diet improved in some of the ways that Dave would probably have advised you. So as far as when it comes to when Dave's eating ketogenically, these are some of the recommendations he would do. And I have other videos on my page where I break down people's keto diets and what's so special about them. And the main gist behind Dave's is that David Asprey's keto diet is just so clean, and I've tried times in my life where I make my keto diet ensure that it is bulletproof, because these are the things that are going to maximize your performance in even the most subtle ways. So the whole gist of bulletproofing your keto diet is going to be, in general, aimed at reducing the inflammation and oxidative stress in your body. These are two of the more big sources for almost all the problems in your body, and the way I've described it in other videos is that if you have one, they kind of work hand in hand to just cause a lot of problems in your body. So bulletproofing your diet is going to reduce a lot of inflammation and oxidative stress. The main ways you can do this in the manner of Dave Asprey is starting off by prioritizing your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio of fats. So with your fat intake, because a lot of people understand protein, a lot of people understand carbs, with fats, people tend to be a little bit more misguided. They don't understand which ones are better and which ones are worse. And with fats, the simplest way to understand which fats are better than others is by their omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. Typically, saturated fats have more omega-3s than unsaturated fats. For example, like processed oils, hydrogenated oils will typically be higher in omega-6. And these things are kryptonite, as Dave Asprey calls them in some of his books, if you've ever read them. So a lot of people will make the choice of, oh, do I go for saturated? Do I go not for saturated? Polyunsaturated? Which ones do I go for? Monounsaturated? The thing is, the easiest way for you to take this advice home is look at the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio of the fat. Whether you have to go on Google to look this up or not, because most of the time on food products it should be listed. If it's higher in omega-3s, it's a better choice. If it's higher in omega-6, this is not a good choice. And the way you have to think about this is omega-3s are the anti-inflammatory fat. Omega-6 are the inflammatory fat. So our body needs a bit of both. Omega-6s will allow your body to inflame when you have an injury, for example. And omega-3s are going to be helpful for making everything run smoother in a lot of other processes in your body, because you don't want more inflammation than you have anti-inflammation. So just because you're getting a good amount of omega-3s doesn't mean you're getting the right amount of anti-inflammatory effect. You have to be reducing your omega-6. So with your fat sources, this means stay away from the kryptonite fats like processed oils, hydrogenated oils, anything that isn't a real food product from an animal or an organic green vegetable. Something that's processed is off the table. Processed food with Dave Asprey's approach is basically all off the table. So don't even bother looking at it. Even some of the keto snacks like certain bars and stuff are really things that Dave would not mess with. This is why he literally made a company where he provides these things. So as far as the omega-3, omega-6 understanding, cut out your omega-6, okay? More often than not, people are consuming more omega-6 than they need to. And even as a broad, wide sweeping piece of advice, lower your omega-6, increase your omega-3s. I always describe it like this. Omega-3s are the firefighters, omega-6 are the fire. So you need a certain amount, a larger amount of omega-3s to put out the fires than simply just getting, oh, I'll get some more omega-3s. If your omega-6 is still too high, it's a problem. Get more firefighters, you'll eliminate any fires. So that is the piece of advice when it comes to your fat sources. Typically, it's better if you get your fat sources from organic and grass-fed animal products. So what this means is every sort of product that you're eating, because it's going to be basically all grass-fed and all organic, whether it's an animal product or a plant, you want this to be as little tampered with by humans as possible. So with all the grass-fed products, the gist behind grass-fed and pasture-raised products is that they are given their natural diet, these animals, and their food products become much more nutrient dense when you have them eating their natural diet. This is what they're meant to eat. So when cows eat grass, one of the things is that they convert the beta carotene from the grass into vitamin A, which is retinol. And retinoic acid is another term for it. So when you have vitamin A in the flesh of a cow that you're eating, this is much more nutrition than you would ever get from a steak from Walmart, okay? The meat products from the supermarkets are unfortunately fed grains, and this makes their flesh not only less nutritious, but it makes the cows sick, and it also exposes them to larger likelihoods of having mold toxins. And mold toxins can basically occur when any sort of grain product or plant product is exposed to moisture for larger amounts of time. Anything that could incur mold and then being fed to an animal is a problem because it gets stored in their fat, and then you're consuming that and it's not a healthy animal, and then you're eating an unhealthy animal. That's the only thing worse than spending your money on, factory farming and stuff, is just getting it from unhealthy animals. It's better for the animal, it's better for you if you get it from grass-fed, local raised animals, and this is going to be where you're getting the bulk of your animal products from. For your plant products, you're going to want to be avoiding the non-organic products. So this means avoiding the plant products that are sprayed with pesticides. Glyphosate is a big one. Glyphosate is sprayed on a lot of things, and you want to be getting your vegetables from organic sources. And even though greens are not going to be providing a larger amount of your nutrition and your vitamins, you still have to be careful because these sort of kryptonite pieces of pesticides, mold toxins, other things that could be incurring on these plant-based products, whether it's grains, whether it's greens, fruits, which you really shouldn't be eating on keto, but just for a piece of advice in bulletproofing your life, you want to be getting the organic and non-GMO products. So it goes hand in hand with non-GMO that you're not eating things like soy or corn. So corn is always a GMO. Corn does not look anything like the way it used to, and it's because it's been modified over the years and years and years of human modification. So with soy is a phytoestrogen, which means basically that it is a plant defense mechanism to deter animals from eating it. So with plants, they can't run away from predators, so they have to excrete some sort of annoyance basically to deter animals from eating it, and that comes out as phytoestrogens. Soy and soy isoflavones, other things like that, they basically will be excreted when you eat them, you are going to be raising your levels of estrogen and misbalancing your hormones in general. So as far as it refers to you, stay away from soy. Soy is not only going to mess up your hormones, it's more inflammatory. And I believe it is higher in omega-6. Not 100% certain on the omega-6 ratio of it though. But I know that's definitely not a source of omega-3. So it is inflammatory, and that goes hand in hand with all phytoestrogens, all GMOs. All your plant products are going to be organic. All your animal products are going to be grass-fed, pasture-raised. So for Dave, he's eating more fats. He's throwing in even some of his MCT oils, which I've bought, and they're the only kinds that I like anymore now. They're the best ones. The bulletproof MCT. So these are caprylic acid entirely, which means that it is just the highest quality MCT. It's not going to upset your gut, and it's going to turn to ketones immediately upon consuming. So that basically means that even if you eat a small bit of carbs, which Dave will occasionally cycle out of, because one of the things I always cover here is how the person of the video, in the topic of the video, incorporates carbs. And for Dave, he's always incorporating carbs with some sort of boost of ketones. So for him, it's the bulletproof brain octane oil, which is the caprylic acid MCT. And what that means is when he's eating little bits of rice, little bits of low glycemic carbs that are from hopefully less processed sources, never too much fructose in his carb sources when he also reincorporates them, never more than 25 grams, right? Because fructose can really tax your liver and it wasn't meant to be consumed in high doses. So that's another tip for his carb incorporation. Every time he's eating carbs, he's throwing in a ketone source. Optimally, brain octane oil. He can have that even up to twice a day because he keeps his fats very high. So the way this ends up looking is, for the most part, Dave will have a breakfast with Bulletproof coffee. If you don't know about Bulletproof coffee, it's clean coffee with his own beans because they don't have mold toxins and they're high quality. And then he'll throw in this brain octane oil, grass-fed ghee or butter, blend that up. That has other antioxidant effects, but I'm not going to talk about those because that's not really something you can take away here. And he's going to be reducing the inflammation and oxidative stress in his body by optimizing that omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, getting no foods from unnatural sources, getting higher ratios of fat so he has more ketones in his body, even when he's not eating ketogenically, right? Like throwing in carbs on certain days, he's getting ketones in his body. He's getting a mix of both fat sources of energy, so ketones, and carb sources. So this also makes it easier to stay in ketosis when you, let's say, eat carbs on Thursday and then the rest of the week you're eating ketogenically again. So that's how that fits into the grand scheme of things. Now, the last thing I'll say is that, actually two last things. So I said before, Dave Asprey doesn't eat anything processed, and this is a key part of making your ketogenic diet bulletproof and making it clean. Okay, you're going to want to look at the backs of every product you're using. So, example for Dave's Bulletproof MCT, if you pretend this was a food product or some sort of bar or some sort of low carb snack that you might be considering, you are always going to want to look at the back. And Dave always makes sure, this is a big part of bulletproofing your life, and there's a whole section in his book on this. He goes through all the different ingredients and fillers that you might want to watch out for. So in general, any sort of oil that comes from a plant is a good way to figure out, oh, sunflower oil, seed oil. You don't want to be messing with those. So even if you don't know what everything is, because I'm not going to attempt to explain to you every single filler in this video, but you're going to want to look at every single filler and say, oh, okay, this ends in ose. It's more likely to be a sugar. Dextrose, fructose, glucose, right? Sucrose. You want to watch out for those because you can't have those on a ketogenic diet. Additionally, if there are any sort of hidden terms for MSG or pesticides or other fillers, like some of the manufacturers will hide MSG, monosodium glutamate, by terms like spice extractives, right? So even just if you watch out for spice extractives, you're doing a lot more for watching out to bulletproof your lifestyle. But every product you buy, whether it's a steak seasoning, whether it's a sauce of some sort, salad dressing, look in the back and try to get it to as few ingredients as possible. Get it to only the ingredients that should naturally, logically be in the product. So if you're buying Caesar salad dressing, you're going to want to get only things that sound like, you know, the several small dairy products required. If you're getting steak sauce, if you're getting cheese, for example, right? You want it to be milk, bacterial culture, that's it, salt. That's what you want. If you're getting some sort of processed stuff, you don't want it to say all these other billions of things. If you're getting sauce, you don't want it to say spice extractives and artificial flavoring that's ambiguous, proprietary blends. You don't want these things. Get it to as few ingredients as possible. Watch out for key phrases like the oses, the sugars, and also watch out for hydrogenated oils or plant oils. Okay, that's the biggest tips for making this bite-sized and consumable by you. And the last thing Dave does is more of an advanced strategy called fat fasting. So intermittent fasting is big and it has a lot of health benefits, and Dave does plenty of wacky things for his health and longevity, and intermittent fasting is one of them. So intermittent fasting leads to a process called autophagy. Autophagy is where your cells are cleansing, okay? And they're feeding the weaker cells to the stronger cells. So the net result of this is that your cells get a cleansing effect, it detoxifies you, there's plenty of benefits. Dave does this for many reasons. He does red light therapy, all these wacky things. It's way too much to keep up. Just follow him on Instagram if you want to watch all that stuff. I've been following him for years, and I can verify there's a lot of stuff too much to keep up with for this video. But as far as fat fasting goes, fat fasting is a way to increase basically the detoxification effect you get, and this occurs as a result of being in ketosis while fasting. So when you are fasting, if you're only consuming fat, it's basically not going to signal to your body to start digestion. So if you were to consume protein, your body would need to start breaking that down. If you were to consume carbs, same thing. With fat, because it doesn't have any effect on your blood sugar and insulin, you can basically remain in the fasted state and still consume decent amounts of it while fasting. So let's say you did a fast for 18 hours and then you consume a bulletproof coffee. This is the perfect and most optimal thing to avoid raising your blood sugars, keep you as close to the fasted state as possible, and still get some sort of a cleansing detoxification effect. You aren't going to be in full autophagy, but you are going to get still some cellular cleansing, and you're going to avoid kicking your body fully out of the fasted state. So you're going to get all the benefits related to that, some of the hormone benefits, growth hormone, IGF-1, things like that. And it's just a tactic Dave uses even just for focus. I imagine that some of the reasons he does it for are the reasons that I do it some days, because it just helps you optimize your productivity. You get a little more ketones in your body. You know, you're fasted, you're not really hungry. If you've ever done intermittent fasting before, gives you a boost if you have a lot of work to crank out that day. That's generally the gist of it. So you are going to be avoiding mold toxins by cutting out carbs. You just have to be careful from there, from coffee choices and other little things like that. You are going to be optimizing your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio in general by adopting a ketogenic diet. However, if you're using kryptonite oils, you want to cut those out. You are going to be removing lots of inflammation and oxidative stress by even just moving to a ketogenic diet. You're going to have much stable blood sugar, much more stable insulin. You're not going to be having any sort of random influx of gluten, fructose, or inflammatory sugars. And at the end of the day, you should already be eating higher fat, right? Higher fat is going to give you more energy. It's not a requirement for weight loss, but it is going to give you more of a boost. So those are the premises that you should already kind of be doing to get a keto diet that looks like Dave's. But if you want to get a keto diet that really looks like Dave Asprey's, you're going to be using MCT oil, caprylic acid, every time you incorporate carbs. You are going to be getting your meats and vegetables from only organic and grass-fed sources. You are also going to be avoiding fillers as much as possible, vetting every single product you look at, occasionally doing fat fasting if you want to for cellular cleansing and other benefits of fasting. And beyond that, you are going to be making sure that you get a healthy amount of fat from good sources. So in terms of grass-fed butter, MCT oil, no processed food, that's the gist of it. So hopefully this gave you a clear picture. I tried to make this kind of every point leading into one another, just because there's so many elements of Dave Asprey's keto diet. But if you wanted a breakdown of it in as bite-sized as it possibly can be, this is the video. So if you want a free keto training plan that I've made, I have that in the description. I also have a free meal plan and a free keto transformation challenge, which you can enter and possibly win free prizes and a personalized ketogenic diet meal plan from me to you. Amongst that, I also have a Facebook group. You can ask me questions in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer you. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it gave you some value, some insight into how to bulletproof your ketogenic diet. I personally have been very inspired by Dave Asprey to bulletproof my keto diet and all of my lifestyle. I've read almost all of his books at this point. I think maybe there's just one more that I haven't finished. And overall, I totally support everything he's doing. I think it's brilliant. And if you truly want to make a change to your life to improve yourself and your performance and how you feel, bulletproofing your diet is the step right above going to a keto diet for my recommendations. So thank you for watching. My name is Anthony Romano. Peace.